Thank you very much. Well, it was quite varied. The Egyptian team especially led the way with, very good performances. Even their men's team, even though they didn't go through, you could see that the players were at a very good level, really, really international class level. And the girls were a bit unlucky not to get through to the quarterfinals. It was a fantastic performance. And we know, they've had the best female team in Africa for a while. Anagoda, Dina Meshref, the Alaodabi sisters, fantastic. Overall, it wasn't a good performance from Nigeria. The other teams did okay, apart their standard, but Nigeria, I think, was a downer. I mean, first of all, men's team losing Harun Okwodri made it totally difficult for them. And the girls' team, the standard wasn't there at all. And I think it's time the Nigerian Table Tennis Federation takes a look at other people, other things. It's time to, I think, change things around a bit. And so, overall, not a very good performance for Africa, but I think one must still credit Egypt for playing to a very good level.
What are the lessons for African team in this competition? Looking at the final, looking at the teams, looking at the crop of players, young players playing at top level.
Well, you have to look at the teams that have done well. Surprisingly, people say surprisingly, when you look at teams like India, it's not surprising to me. They've been preparing well for the last 10 years. Young players coming through, exposing them to international tournaments and, getting the best coach for a long time. Massimo, probably the best coach, I think, in the world, was there with them. So you think, if they can do it, why can't we? We can't in Africa, mostly because of funding. I mean, the talent is there, the young players are there. We saw what the players who qualified for the World Juniors from Africa, they did well, from Tunisia. The Nigerian youngsters are very good. But you need money, you need funding to get these players playing at the right level. The right coaching costs a lot of money. And there's not enough support coming from the government in most cases. And the federations themselves have a lot to do. We look at maybe in the next 2 years to the next world team, look at what we as a continental federation can do to support these countries. And that has to be, training programs for the coaches and for the players. And look, we all know the talent is there, but you have to capture it at a very early age. You look at the players that have done well here. I mean, of course, the standout player of the tournament for me, LeBron, 17 years old. He's already world class, could have turned the finals around by himself yesterday. So we have to look at our own players in the 10, 11, 12 category and what we can do to help them get there in Africa. And hopefully we'll get the funding somehow.
Recently, the Nigerian Table Tennis Foundation named African legend Segun Toriola as the acting coach of the national team. What's your view of this?
Toriola is somebody who divides people, but one thing that is not in doubt is his wealth of knowledge. For me, we talk about Atonda Musa, Bisoya in Nigeria. For me, honestly, Segun Toriola is the greatest player we've ever had. 7 Olympics, consistent throughout that period, discipline-wise, fantastic, excellent character, and I think he can help the national team. It's just a question of if he settles down and if they allow him do the work. He's got the knowledge, he's got the respect from, even here in Busan, you could see other teams coming across, the top coaches, all of them. These are his contemporaries. And so he knows the game, he knows where to get help. And, I think he can be of great help, especially to the younger players. Players like Harun Okwodri, that's a different level. He can help Harun because he's played at that level himself. But for the younger players, I think he can now bring them through. Over, I think, the December period where there were a couple of tournaments in Nigeria, we saw, 30, 40 youngsters of extremely great ability, all looking to follow through on Haruna, on Mati, on Omotayo. Now you need the coach who can do that, and I think Segun can help them with that.
What are you expecting from Segun in terms of imparting his knowledge on other coaches?
I think this is the time now for him to bring the next generation through. This, for me, is the end, coming to the end of another generation, his own generation. Harun Okwodri now in his mid-30s, I don't think he would, with occasional injuries, I don't know, may play for another 5 years. That would be excellent. But now is the time to bring the next batch through. Taiwo Mati, Omer Madi, Sholanke, and of course, currently I think the best Nigerian player in the country, Matthew Kuti. I mean, he's 14, 15, but already he plays like somebody who's in his late 30s, very experienced, he plays like he's very experienced, but he has a great table tennis brain. So Segun's job now is to bring these players through, and hopefully we see the next generation of stars again in Nigeria.
If you want to advise the Nigerian Table Tennis Foundation, even the Nigerian government, on how to revive table tennis, what would be your advice to them?
Well, first things first, they must find some funding. They must find some funding. They must find some committed people. There are people in the federation that I found working with them occasionally. Dr. Adesoji Tayo, quite a few, members who are committed, across the country, committed members. Now it's time to give them the support they need, which is funding. Get coaches in to help Toriola. Toriola can't be the only coach in Nigeria. It's for all the different age groups now. And it's time we start, training camps, tournaments, so that we can select, you isolate the next batch of 10, 20 of the best youngsters and how you put them through in an academy system. We've seen France do it. We've seen India do it. Egypt has always done that. So why do we change? We did that when I became as president, and that's how come, of course, Haruna Quadri and the rest of them came through at the top level, Gideon Mota. Now we need to do that again. We haven't done that in many years. We've just sort of relaxed on the name Quadri and a few other players. Now it's time to get those players playing, a lot of them. And without money, they can't do it. The Ministry of Sports has to find a way to support that. They need medals. They go on to the All-Africa Games now. They want to win medals. You're prepared to win medals. And I'm not so sure this last-minute preparation would be, what is ideal for the players.
Let's talk about the African Games. Just a few days to the African Games. What are you looking forward to in table tennis?
7 gold medals, always very important. And I'll be honest with you, if we could get 1 or 2, I would, and that's being honest, that's where we are now. Egypt will dominate the table tennis event at the All-Africa Games. And if we're lucky, Haruna Quadri and maybe the men's team might be able to pull, a gold medal here or there. But generally, and then the competition is tougher. Algeria, probably for me, the number 2 team now in Africa. And on paper, on the reality now is that we're number 3 when it even comes to the men's team. But singles, yes, we have the players, we can do it, but it's going to be a difficult tournament. We haven't prepared properly. Coming to the World Championship should have been preparation and qualification for the Olympics. We didn't manage to do either of that. So I'm painting a grim picture, but I hope I'll be surprised. The Nigerian spirit might come through. And it makes some of us very sad in that, because we spent a lot of time, effort into the national team, building that team up again, but it seems that the whole setup is not what it should be now. And but we're always committed to help. We're always committed to see how we can do things. And it saddens me, because you get people at the top level of the ITTF asking the question every day, what has gone wrong again with the Nigerian team? We were very proud of where we were 5, 6 years ago. Now it's a bit of a struggle. But again, like I said, the Nigerian spirit is there, and we're all committed to trying to help if they allow us help and where we can help.
Let me ask you finally, you have been in ITTF for 2 or 3 years now. How do ITTF see Africa? And do you see yourself in ITTF?
Yeah, ITTF, Africa is the great hope. When they see the talents that come through at a young age, now we're seeing the young Ugandan kid. Egypt has loads of them. Tunisia has loads of them. Nigeria has loads. Everybody's building players now. That's one good thing the success of Haruna and Omar and Dina and Hannah has done. A lot of young people are inspired by them. They want to be like them. ITTF sees us as the next big port. That's why we're trying to put quite a bit of money into Africa for development, to help the coaches, help the umpires, even the administrators. Governance is a big problem in Africa. Across most member associations. But we have a lot of good men working in Africa, from Cote d'Ivoire to Kenya to South Africa. And so the ITTF looks that we will bring, after Durban, where South Africa put on a fantastic show on the continent, it's a big partner in the ITTF, and hopefully the ITTF will continue to put the funds there to help Africa, and hopefully the results will start coming through very soon.